Hi, Charles SirBookSage here with my July 2021 TBR. Now, I have been looking forward to this July for reading month since last year, actually. I've been reading Malazan, Vorkosigan, Honor Harrington, and Dresden Files. And I knew that July 2021, I would begin my Brandon Sanderson Cosmere journey. I am starting the first of my Cosmere reads this month. And I finished Vorkosigan Saga. Dresden, I've kind of put on hold. I think I'm going to get back to that and probably start at the beginning again after I finish Honor Harrington. But for this month, I had to decide which Cosmere book am I going to start with, because there seems to be quite a bit of a debate in the Cosmere fandom as to where to begin. Maybe 12, 15 years ago, I did buy Elantris and a big book haul about a whole bunch of first books of a bunch of series. And I opened it up at the time, read the first couple of pages, and it didn't grab me at all. So I put it down, picked a different book in the book haul from, I think, Gail Z. Martin, and just started devouring her fantasy series. And the only other reading I've done in Cosmere at all is I bought Warbreaker on hardcover and got it the day it was published. And I think I read the first few chapters, and I was really enjoying that. And I ended up putting it aside. Can't even remember why, and never got back to it. So that is it. That's the entirety of my exposure to Cosmere. I've owned Mistborn trilogy a couple of times. Donated it to the library. Donated Elantris to the library. I think I have another mass market box set of the Mistborn trilogy, but that's in storage. So is Warbreaker. So I have Elantris and Mistborn and Way of Kings on ebook. And I was all set to start with Mistborn, and I sat down yesterday, pulled up my Kindle library, my Audible library, and clicked on Elantris. And I read the whole book through in one sitting yesterday and thoroughly enjoyed it. So if that is considered the weakest of the Cosmere books, then I'm in for quite a fantastic reading journey here, because I really enjoyed it. Yes, it's a first novel. You can kind of see that it's a first novel. It's fun to, having read The Wheel of Time, going back and seeing Brandon at the beginning of his writing career here, to see how much he's grown now by, the Wheel of Time books show how much he's progressed. And even then, I mean, the Wheel of Time books have been out for a few years now, so I'm really looking forward to when I finally get to the Stormlight Archives. So my TBR, obviously Elantris, already read in one day. Gave it 4 stars. House of Chains, the next Malazan book, I'm reading this month. I took a long break after Memories of Ice, and it's time to get back to that series. I'd meant to get back to it a couple of months ago, but I just decided I was going to finish Vorkosigan Saga, which I did last month. So House of Chains, and the next Honor Harrington book, book 7, I believe, is in enemy hands, where she's finally captured by the enemy. So that should be an interesting read. And I've got 2 urban fantasy series that I just are my reading in bed at night before sleep reads. Fire, book 3 in the Akasha series. It's sort of this elemental kind of magic. And Bitter Night, the first of the Horngate, Witches of Horngate urban fantasy series from Diana Farrow Francis. And really enjoying that. The Akasha series, it's entertaining, it's fun, and what's interesting is I look at urban fantasy as light reading, when in reality the subject matter, particularly in the Akasha series, is not light reading at all. There's some really serious, dark stuff that happens in there. But the genre, for some reason, my brain just thinks of as light reading. So even though that's not really accurate. And I tend to gravitate towards urban fantasy as my reading in bed before sleep reads. But that's my main TBR. So Elantris, which now done in one day, House of Chains, and Honor Harrington book 7 in enemy hands, and the 2 urban fantasy reads. There's a good chance I'm probably gonna start reading the first Mistborn book this month. I was not expecting to knock out a Cosmere book in one day. That was not planned. I thought I would start it yesterday, get a feel for it. But again, I enjoyed it so much, I sat and read it through in one shot. And so I'm really looking forward to the rest of the books to see where this story goes. And I know that these stories take place in very different parts of the Cosmere timeline, so I don't expect there's going to be a lot of repetition. But we'll see. I don't really know much about them other than Sanderson likes very intricate magical systems. So I'm looking forward to seeing what those are, because I've tried to avoid any kind of spoilers and things I know I want to read, but you can't not know that there is very detailed and intricate magical systems, because people in general talk about them. Yeah, I think that's it. Just a quick TBR. I had a great reading month in June. I'll probably do a June wrap-up video, since I did a June TBR, where I'll talk about closing out the Forkosakan saga. But anyway, that's my July TBR. Elantris, House of Chains, In Enemy Hands, and then the urban fantasies I'm reading at night. So, and possibly the first Mistborn book. We'll see. I don't know if I want to wait an entire month to pick up the next Cosmere book, since I finished Elantris in one day, right at the beginning of the month. But that is it. I am going to go and relax. I've got some pizza to reheat, left over from last night's dinner. And I'm going to get to reading. Probably House of Chains. I think that's what I'm going to read this afternoon. Anyway, I am Charles with SirBookSage. Happy reading.